Hello everyone, I'm Swati and today we are going to see some pattern programs using numbers in C. So let's begin. So first starting with a simple program here. If we want to print this pattern, then what's the logic which you can think from this? So firstly we can see that here in the first row we have 1 and in the second row we have 2, the third row we have 3. So that means the number of the row is equal to the digit to be printed. So that's the logic. And going to the program, so this is the program. We know that this is matrix like structure. So we have to write two loops, one for the row and another for the column, and we are going to print the row value. Let me show you the output of this. So we can give any input here and you can see that this value is getting printed. Since this is the 2-digit number, it's getting extended, but otherwise this is working perfectly. And now let's move on to our another pattern. So this pattern is also similar to our previous one, but here you can see that in the first row we have 4 1s and 1 2, and then we have in the second row we have a 3 and then 4 2s, and this continues. So the logic which we can think from here is just see the odd rows first. In the odd rows we have 4 digits printed, 4 same values printed in the beginning, and in the even rows we have only a single digit printed, and after that 4 same values are printed. Okay, so that means we have to write the program separately for odd row and even row. And now you can see that how to print this 1 or this 3 or this 5. This 1 is actually equivalent to that row value, or we can set a value as 1 and then print 4 ones and then increment it after it gets printed 4 times. And how to print this 3? So this is equivalent to the row plus 1 value. So here this is the row value, we have to increase that by 1 and print it. Now for this 4 which is another even value, we can see the same thing is followed. For the 4th row we have 5 printed in the beginning. So that's what is happening. For the even rows this is the logic, and for the odd rows we have to just print the value 4 times and then increase it by 1. Now let's move on to our program. So here the same thing I have written. So if the row is even, we have to print the row plus 1 value, and then we have to print just so here now you can see first we have to print the row plus 1 value, and then for n minus 1 times, that is the row minus 1 times, we have to print that row value. Okay, row value is 2, so we have to print that 4 times. So that's what we have done. And then for if the value is odd, then what we are going to do is we have to print the row plus 1 value 1 time alone. So I have written this only 1 time, and this condition is common for both the odd value and the even value. 4 times we are going to print the row value alone. So for the odd row, in the beginning itself we are going to print this, and then row plus 1 is going to be printed at the last. Okay, so let's execute it and see it. So in this you can see that's the exact output what we wanted. Okay, so now moving back to our next pattern. Okay, so this is the pattern which again is somewhat similar to the previous one. Again we have two separate things for the odd row and the even row. You can see that for the odd row we have the same thing which is printed. It's 1 for all the odd rows, the same thing is printed, 1 3 5 7 9, and here also 1 3 5 7 9. So we have to just write the program for odd and even. So here also for even 2 4 6 8 10, like that it's printing. So how to print this 1 and 2? Okay, then we can see that we can keep this value. If the row is odd, then we can set the value as 1 and then just increase it by 2 each time. And if the row is even, we can set the value as 2 and increase it by 2 each time. So that's what we are going to do. So here you can see this value which previously we had set it as 1. Okay, here we have printed the row value, but we can also print the value. Okay, let's go to this program. Here we have set the value as 1 if the row is odd and 2 if the row is even. This I have used conditional operator, and each time after printing the value it gets incremented by 2. So now we'll execute this and see. So you can see this is what exactly we wanted. For the even we have even digits, and for the odd we have odd digits printed. Now let's move to the another pattern. This pattern is slightly changed from the previous, but before doing this we'll try to change this program a little bit and then execute. Now instead of keeping separate things for odd and even, I've just kept this value as R. So whatever is going to be the row value, that's going to be the starting value for each row. So if we see the output, then you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So here you can see for the first row it starts from 1 and then increases by 2. For the second row it starts by the value 2 and increases by 2 each time. And similarly for third row, fourth row, and so on. So that is the logic which we have used here. So now let's move to this pattern which I showed you here. So this pattern is similar to the one which we have done using star. So this is a left tilted triangle, and instead of printing stars we are going to print numbers. Okay, so the logic for the left tilted triangle is that the row is equal to the number of column, or we can say the number of columns is going to be equal to the row number. So in the first row we have only one column, in the second row we have 2 columns, and so on. Now let's move to the program. So how are we going to print this value? So as I told you, here we have set the value, right? So the value for even is set as 1, set as 2, and for odd is set as 1. Similarly, here we are going to keep the value as constant 1 and going to increase that value each time after printing it. So let's execute it and see. So here you can see this is the exact output what we wanted, and how I have made this row equal to column is, instead of setting the column as equal to number of input, I have set it as equal to the row value. And let's move to next pattern. This pattern is similar to our previous one, but it's not that easy. So first we have to print this upper triangle similar to our previous one. So this is the program which we used for the previous one, but here you can see that after 15 we have 7. So how are we going to print this 7? Right, we cannot directly find this number because this value will change for others. That is, for if I give any other number as input, then this 7 will not be printed. Whatever is present in this line before this line should be present here, but that we cannot tell that computed directly, right? So we have to find the logic between the end value and this next value to print this. Okay, so let's think of a logic. Here you can see that obviously I told you that we are going to use 2 loops. The first one is same as that of the previous program, and for this next one we are going to just print 4 values, that is n minus 1 values are going to be printed. So I have started the loop from 4. If input is 5, then we have to start from 4. Okay, so now I told you that we have to think logic between this last value and this first value. So after printing this 15, the value is going to be increased by 1 because I have used post increment. In all the programs you can see we have used val plus plus. That means the value is going to increase after it gets printed, right? So the same logic is going to be used in this program also. So after printing 15, we have the value 16 as the set value. So what is the difference between the 16 and 7 is 9. Okay, so how can we get this number 9? So we have to think some relation between this row value and this 9. But this row value is 4 and we cannot get directly 9 from that. So one thing which we can do is 4 into 2 plus 1. So that's what I have done. 16 minus 2 into r plus 1 gives us the value 7. So the value minus 2 times the row plus 1 would give us this value. So this is how we have to print it. We cannot directly tell this to print this number. We have to just find the logic between these two numbers. Okay, so this is the program which I have used. So I have, instead of setting the value as 1, just we are going to change that as val minus 2 times the row plus 1. And for any other such programs, you have to find the difference between the end value and the starting value and write this program. Okay, and this loop is same as that used in our previous pattern. And now let's execute this pattern and see what we get as the output. So this is for 10. what I showed you was for 5. So here you can see that what we wanted was this line, this 37, the line, that is this pattern should have been repeated. So you can see that same thing has been repeated. It has started from 37, right? Okay, so this is the exact output what we wanted, and it looks like a triangle. Okay, so similarly you can solve many more problems using numbers. So it may look that it's a bit difficult from printing stars, but by daily practice we can definitely solve these problems and succeed. And I'd like to conclude by saying a quote that always chase your dreams instead of running away from your dreams. And in order to succeed in your dreams, you can do these interesting problems, and definitely you'll succeed in life. Thank you.